chaos in here a minute ago. I gotta get this done. I gotta get the show done and going. And I'm like, getting ready. Nothing was ready. I'm grabbing my monitors to put them in. You know, the little plastic tippy, like the little, I'm gonna take this off, not put it back in. The little plastic earbud tippy things. It's not focusing on that, but as I'm going to put my monitor in, that popped off. And I'm like looking for it, crawling around on the floor. I got a flashlight, can't find it. It's nowhere around here. I'm looking all over the place, and I can't find this little dopey piece of plastic. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Where could it have possibly? You know, I'm gonna find it like in the living room or something, like when I'm done. It's like rolled and bounced and rolled. So getting off to a great start here, but I had a spare. Had the box that these monitors came in. Opened the box. There's extra little ear tippy things, so we're all good. But we made it, and I said I gotta start now. Gotta start the show. Gotta get rolling. So here we are. So thanks for coming in. Thanks for stopping by. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a regular listener, thanks for coming back and listening to the show. My name is Michael. I am a women's photographer from New Jersey. Worked with hundreds and hundreds of women through the course of my career. I have a lot of fun doing boudoir sessions, seen it all, done it all. And we have a little show here to help answer questions. It's not for photographers. So for photographers, just stop the podcast. I'll give you a moment. Go find something else. I'll give you a minute. All right. Are they gone? We don't want those crazy photographers in this show. We're here to help women make smart choices when finding their photographer. Because as we all know, you've been listening to this show, it's a freaking nightmare out there. It is nothing like you would think it would be. Finding a photographer is difficult. There's a lot of missteps. There's a lot of landmines. And we want everyone to shop smart, have a great experience, walk away with pictures that they enjoy. And that's really what we're here for. He's a man. He's a man. How could he possibly know about women's photography? Look at him. He's a man. Well, this man has probably been more successful than 99% of the people out there who have ever entered the field of boudoir photography. So I must be doing something right. Something must be right. Because here we is doing this show all these years later. So maybe worth sticking around. Every week we talk about a little bit of a question, a different topic that we answer. And some of them are fun. Some of them are more involved. And give you information about everything you need to know to ask photographers so you can have a safe and happy session. Yeah, I know. Last week I wasn't here, but I never promised you I was going to be here every week. I never promised you. I got germs. I was just not well. I was coming home just lying down, and I was like, oh, I can't even do this week. So I took the week off to recover. Still sick. Still feel like crap. My head is all clogged, but we're going to roll through it. Now that I've got these germs, it'll probably stay with me for like 2 or 3 weeks. But that's okay. But that gave you plenty of time in the meantime to listen to the previous episode. Did you listen? The last episode was, what are some of the weirdest boudoir requests you've ever gotten? So that was a fun show. Again, not a super serious show with that one. That was more, again, we try to keep it fun and light here. So that was more of a lighthearted show. And then on a more serious note, I really do appreciate everyone who has been supporting the show and subscribing. I don't look at the metrics like too much. I'm just too busy to go back and look at that stuff. But I see that we've been getting more subscribers. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who has been supporting this show and listening to these episodes. And I mean it. And all the angry photographers can stay away. We don't want them. They just want to attack me because I'm not talking about healing. I'm not talking about how boudoir photography heals mental illness. So they get very angry, these culty photographers. But for the women clients, thanks. We have some fun, you know. And this week, as you've seen in the title of this, we're going to be talking about, can you give me some tips for shopping for a bridal boudoir photographer? So that's what we're going to be getting into this week. It's spring. Wedding season is getting underway. If not, it's full force already. It's March. It's hard to believe the first quarter of this year is gone by already. But this is a super important show this week. And because so many women go out into the spring and want to do boudoir sessions as bridal gifts, it's one of the busiest times every year for that. So it's a great time. If you're in the market for shopping for a photographer, listen to this show for a few minutes because we're going to give you some great information so you can have a cute and pretty bridal album and then not wind up in tears at the end of your boudoir session because you went to the wrong photographer. So that's what we're going to chat about a little bit today. And there's quite a few subtopics. I broke this down into, and so we're going to break this down into little sections. So that's our topic today. So just going to give you a moment, get your refreshing beverage. I've got mine. I drank I was at the grocery store and I am just like hooked on drinking like organic ginger shots. Little tiny, they're expensive. They come in little like glass bottles, like ginger and turmeric. So I was in the grocery store, didn't see the ones I like. And behind the grocery store is a health food store. So I went in and got a handful of little ginger shots. And so, they come in small bottles and you drink it. And then after you drink one of those things, like if you're not super familiar with ginger or if you've never done it, it's very visceral. Like when you drink that concentrated ginger and you feel it hit your stomach. I don't think I had much in my stomach. You just feel warm. And it's like doing like a shot of alcohol. You just feel this warm sensation throughout your whole body. But it's like a good sensation. It's like a positive, life affirming that you're getting from this drink. So I just downed a ginger shot a little while ago. So I'll let you go get your beverage that you want, and then we'll get started. I'm waiting for you, Debbie. We're waiting for you, Debbie. All right. Well, Debbie's taking her own time, so we're gonna get started without Debbie. And the first part of this is understanding bridal boudoir. And boudoir as a wedding gift has been a growing trend now for over 15 years or more. That's really what got me into women's photography, was women coming to me about doing gifts for a wedding present. So it has been out there for a while. It's been growing. It's a lot of fun. And one thing I always thought too is that it's, brides, it's a very hectic time, a lot of stuff and decisions and stuff going on. So going in to do a boudoir shoot or a wedding gift is also kind of like a little bit of a break. It's like a spa day. It's like a day to unwind and relax and have fun, have a confidence boosting experience. So I always thought it was a great break in your bridal hectiness. Well, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. And who is doing this? I've worked with all kinds of women. So it's not just a certain demographic. I accommodate so many different people. I have super wealthy, schmelthy brides coming out of the New York and upper New Jersey area, to just regular brides, to everybody in between. When I hear someone's getting married, we're always trying to find a way to accommodate them. So I work with all kinds of people, all kinds of fun that we have. They enjoy the sessions, and it's a really great gift to give. And I guess they do it on their weddings. I've heard different things. Some people do it before their wedding, on their wedding night. Everybody has their little timing when they want to give these gifts, but it's always a lot of fun to do. And it's still like sort of this ongoing thing. It's probably still the biggest part of my business is doing bridal sessions. I've always enjoyed it. Give my little extra energy boost when I'm going in there to do a bridal shoot, because it's an important day. It's an important day. So I give it my best because we want these pictures to look really good. And so basically, if you think you're going to have fun, you want a cute wedding gift, you want to do something different, Boudoir photography is always a wonderful gift, but the one thing that I always run into is that people will call me or email me, like in May. They'll email me like on May 12th, like, oh, I'm getting married on May 15th. Is it too late to get in for a session? Or I'm getting married on May 31st. And it's like a week before. Is it too late to get in for a session? And, usually last minute bookings are problematic. This is not a business where, you do your shoot on a Monday and you have your album on a Tuesday. It takes a little bit more time. So the one thing and the biggest tip I always tell is you got to book early, and that may vary depending on your photographer and where you are in the country and some other factors, but you gotta get in there at least several weeks. And I always tell people a couple months, 1 or 2 months at least, before their wedding, and it could be even a little bit longer in peak times like the spring, because photographers are busy. And what people don't think about, all right, your session only takes an hour or two, a couple hours on that day, but then there's all the editing that comes after and selecting the photos, and you got to send things out, and they got to get printed, and it's got to get bound, and it's got to get shipped to you. So this can take a little bit of time. So always come in early. Because then it's a lot less stressful. You're not sitting there coming into a session like a week before, crossing your fingers that the FedEx man gets there on time because some photographer worked all through the night to get your album done and get everything printed, and you approved it and it got shipped out and it better be there, it better be there. Nobody needs that stress. So book early. Now it's March, the end of March. You're getting married in May or June. Now's the time to be thinking about this and contacting some photographers in your area, checking on their schedule, their availability, and getting booked. It gives you time to prepare, and remember, it's going to take a little bit after that session too to get your product. So the earlier, the better. So book early. Sometimes albums, if you're getting a handmade album, it can take a week or more just for them on the album side to get that done and shipped out. So it could take 2 weeks just to get the album part alone, not to count the editing, not to count everything. People picking out their pictures. I like this one. And it takes a while for some people to approve the layouts. And, so it's a process. It's a process for people. You should have started sooner, but it's not too late. And I've had some that were so close. I've had people contact me literally I think 2 weeks before their wedding. And I'm up for the challenge. I'm like, if you want to drag yourself out of bed tomorrow and we can get in tomorrow, we can do it. I'll make sure I get the album out in a day or two. I don't think I've ever missed a wedding date, but it's been close. And I don't need that stress. No photographer needs that stress. And then, as far as finding the right photographer for you, that may take you a long time too, because that's the whole point of the show. It ain't easy, and as we talk about, you may go in and put boudoir photographers in Topeka, and it's going to show you 20 listings of boudoir photographers in Topeka, but Google knows nothing about those photographers. It doesn't know if they are qualified. It doesn't know how long they've been in business. It doesn't know if they know what the hell they're doing. It doesn't know if they're talented photographers. It doesn't know if they're outsourcing their photos to China. It doesn't know if they're crazy. It doesn't know anything. The only thing that Google may know is that photographer is in Topeka. But there's about 40 unanswered questions there lurking behind the scenes that Google does not know that can still make that photographer a disaster. So never think that just because someone comes up with a bunch of listings means Google knows anything other than they are in Topeka. And that's, again, why it's tough to shop for a photographer. I'm not going to get too knee-deep into it to this episode. We got about 50 episodes before this in this show that's talking about all these steps you need to do and the questions you need to ask to make sure you're finding somebody that's going to give you positive results. So you can always hit a few of those episodes up. But don't let Google make that decision for you, because Google doesn't know. You got to pick up the phone. You got to ask them how much experience they have. You got to ask them if they're outsourcing their photos. You got to ask them how long they've been into photography before they suddenly decided to become a photographer. The list of questions goes on and on, because the photographers don't care. You would think, but Mike, they're a woman's photographer. They really care about me. They do not. They do not have privacy procedures in place. They do not have security procedures in place. They're not thinking about this. Most of them are bad operators. It's kitchen nightmares. You've all seen kitchen nightmares. Now you know how bad restaurants are. You know that you do not go in that little mom and pop restaurant in a little shopping center that looks dirty, because you know you're going to get food poisoning, because Chef Ramsay taught you that all these places are human nightmares. That's boudoir photography. That's what it is. It's the same thing. You see something on Google and you think, oh yeah, Janie, that looks good. Nightmare. You have to be very careful when you are shopping, because no one is going to look out for you other than you. You know by now all the questions you have to ask and what you have to do. So again, a few of those episodes back, you'll find everything you need to ask, all the red flags, everything else, but it's up to you to shop smart. The photographers don't care. They just want to heal your pain. So you got to put in that work too, and that can take a while. So that's why too, unless you have a really great photographer in your area, and there certainly are plenty of great photographers out there, but it takes a little work. It takes a little work. Maybe you have a friend who got married not too long ago. She went in, get a referral from her, ask her how the session went, still call the photographer and grill them with 800 questions. And if you ask them what they're doing for the long term, what happens to the photos after my shoot, and they go, what? Next. If they do not have any security measures in plan for the photos sitting on their hard drives, find another photographer. I don't even want to get into that on this show. It's disastrous what these photographers do to the women out there, not protecting their private images. But you got to put the work in, and that's going to take some time. And speaking of weddings, that's me refreshing myself. I get a little worked up when I start talking about these bad photographers. One thing too that is very helpful when you are shopping for your wedding boudoir photographer, and I always refer to it as that you have to shop with your wedding mindset. Now, what I mean by that is when you were out looking for your wedding venue, or when you were out looking for your dress, you weren't online shopping for the lowest price and then automatically that was the winner. It was a little bit more to it, right? You weren't lining up venues and saying the lowest one automatically wins. Your wedding is an experience. It's about celebration. It's not about necessarily finding the cheapest vendor in the universe. That's not necessarily the winner, right? There's certain expectations. There is a big mistake, again, in the mindset of brides shopping for boudoir photography and treating it more as a commodity, or choosing solely based on price. And this is a big mistake, again, because all photographers are not the same. You cannot compare. It is not an apples to apples thing. So just briefly looking at one, briefly looking at another, and say, well, that one's cheapest. That's the winner. And which is ridiculous. And that's how you wind up getting really poor results. But you would not be looking to provide food to the guests for your wedding and be looking at one caterer and they're making beautiful lobsters, and another caterer, they got steak and shrimp. This beautiful steak, and the food is wonderful. And then you have Taco Bell, and you can get a chalupa for $2, right? So that's got to win, because the chalupa for $2, you could feed everybody at your wedding party for $2. That's going to be $200 to feed everybody at your wedding. So by default, Taco Bell has to be the winner because it's the cheapest, right? Isn't that how you shop for the? No, as I noted, nobody would do that. That would be ridiculous. It's not every circumstance where the lowest price is necessarily the best choice. It's about an experience. You want everybody to enjoy themselves. In a situation like their wedding and the food you're presenting at the wedding, the lowest bidder is not always the best choice. And when it comes to photographers, it's very much the same thing. Just because someone is $50 on Groupon does not mean that's the best choice. You are doomed by going down that path. You have to get over this bad shopping where cheaper is better. Know what boudoir photography typically costs in your area. Know what you want, and I want an album, and I want this. And you have to try to find people that are somewhat giving you similar items. There's going to be a lot of variables in where they work and the quality of products and such. And I'm not going to get too knee deep into that, but do not shop by lowest price. You will get destroyed. It's not going to be good. So you have to shop with your wedding mindset, thinking about the experience, not choosing Taco Bell. You're going to get the lobster because you want everyone to have a great time. And how often are you getting married? It's not like you're getting married every week, except for Debbie. She's got a little bit of a problem with commitment. But for everybody else, you don't get married every week. So this is not something you're doing all the time. So save up. You do it the right way. You get Uncle Louie his lobster, and he's sitting over there at table 14. Thank you. It's a great time. So everyone has a pleasant dinner. It's very memorable. The food is nice. The dancing is nice. The band is nice. You want everything to be nice. You're not giving them Taco Bell. So Uncle Louie is just getting indigestion and he's sitting over there the whole time going, oh, get me my Rolaids. You're just not doing that. That's not how you're shopping for your wedding. Don't shop for your boudoir photographer like that. Very important. Shop with your wedding mindset. Do not shop solely by price. And if you can't, just don't do it. If you can't find a good boudoir, just don't do it. Skip it. Don't go to the Groupon $50 boudoir photographer. The next tip is shockingly important too. Tip number 4. I don't even know we're up to 3. Learn to identify quality boudoir photography. You will be shocked to see that there are a lot of photographers selling boudoir that isn't really boudoir photography. Remember, these photographers are not the brightest bulbs out there. They're calling themselves boudoir photographers, and what they're doing is having you come into a little studio in a shopping center and stand in front of a backdrop, and they're going to take a picture of you, and then they're going to slide over their little couch in front of the backdrop and sit there. That's not boudoir photography. Taking pictures in a studio in front of a backdrop is not boudoir photography. Boudoir means bedroom photography. If you are not in a bedroom, it is not boudoir photography. So you're going in someone's basement and taking a picture. It's not boudoir photography. Yeah, but I'm in my underwear. But underwear is not the defining characteristic of boudoir photography any more than taking a photo in a bikini makes it a beach photo. If I put you in my backyard and take a picture of you in a bathing suit, it is not a beach photo. If I put you in underwear and you're taking a picture in a shopping center photo studio in front of a backdrop, it is not boudoir photography. Sorry, it's not. So don't get fooled. If you think you're going in and taking boudoir photography, learn what boudoir photography is so you're not getting fooled. And half the time, the photographers themselves don't know that they're not even doing boudoir photos. Remember, they ain't that with it. All right? They ain't the smartest bunch out there. So learn what boudoir photography actually is. So when you're looking at some samples, you could say, aha, that's boudoir photography. Look at the photos. Are they all in bedrooms? Do the women look beautiful? Are you going, wow, I can see myself in pictures like these. These are really cute. These are really beautiful. The photographer has been around for a while. Their Instagram has been around for a while. They've been posting photos longer than a month or two. Is there quality? Is there professional editing? Do the photos all look dramatically different? No, that's good. Is the same woman in all the photos? No, that's good. They look beautiful. You have to learn what good photography looks like. That's a big key. And I know it's tricky. It's kind of like you don't know if food in a restaurant is good sometimes before you go there. It gets hard, I know, but at least photographers sometimes are posting on their website or their social media, and you can look at that photo. You got to do a little work to figure out whether photos are good or not. If it's the same two women, they're just the friends of the photographer that she dragged in to do photos because nobody else wants to do photos with her. So if it's the same two women, not a good sign. If it's in a basement, not a good sign. If it's in front of a backdrop, and it's not a good sign. If the photos are all over the place, not a good sign. So image quality, learn what boudoir photography is. Learn how to identify good photos. Is the photography story driven? Is there like a story to it? Is she coming in? Is she going down into the bed? Is she laying down? Are all the photos kind of thematic? Do they all have kind of the same feel? Can you all put them in an album together and they tell a story? Not random outside boudoir shots again? Knowing what you know now? Is there such a thing as outdoor boudoir? If I put you in underwear and put you in a field, is that boudoir? Anybody? Outdoor boudoir? There is no such thing as outdoor boudoir. Don't be fooled. I don't know how I got on that little kind of a tangent, but there is no such thing. It's kind of like glamour photography or something, but it's not boudoir. Not a bedroom. It's not telling a story. So learn to identify what boudoir photography is. Next tip. Beware of low and no quality boudoir photographers. You are in the era of low skill boudoir photographers due to this boudoir boom and the healing narrative, the narrative generation photographers. They do not care about quality. They think you are broken and want to fix you. They do not care about technical photography. Beware of low quality photographers. Anybody can call themselves a pro. It doesn't mean anything. Avoid photographers that are new. Avoid MLM boss babes, the MLM Janie syndrome. Often in photography, what you'll see is, and I always talk about MLM Janie, who was a boss babe in her MLM, trying to climb the MLM ladder, and things didn't go so well. So she goes out to Chick-fil-A with her friend Ashley for lunch, and Janie takes a picture of her Chick-fil-A sandwich, and Ashley goes, "Boy, you're a good photographer." He goes, "You think?" And 2 weeks later, Janie is calling herself a women's photographer. She has no experience. She has no technical ability. She has no skill. She doesn't know how to run a business. She knows nothing about marketing. She knows nothing about it. Nothing. But yet now she's calling herself a pro photographer. Just because somebody owns a camera doesn't mean they are a skilled photographer. No matter what kind of rhetoric they try to tell you. I could go to Golf World, walk in, and tell the man there, "Please give me the same clubs that Tiger Woods uses." That does not make me a professional golfer. And probably no matter how much I swing those clubs, I will never be as good as Tiger Woods. And you can't just go into the golf store one day, buy some clubs, and then call yourself a pro. And say, now I'm on the PGA Tour. That would be ridiculous. But yet, that's what people in photography do all the time. And you have to be aware of this. Because just because someone calls themselves a pro means nothing. Nothing. You have to ask the questions, how long have they been doing this? And more importantly, how long were you into photography before you started calling yourself a pro? And you think, Mike, what the hell does that mean? Well, people who go into golf, they have a passion for golf, right? They don't wake up one day and call themselves a pro. They're doing it as a hobby. They're doing it for the enjoyment of it. They're doing it because they like the activity, or they want the, benefit of the exercise and stuff like that. And then organically, if that's going to happen, they go to college, they play on their college team, and then they have to win a number of tournaments, and then they get invited slowly into this pro thing, correct? But they were doing it because they loved it. So for photography, if someone is doing it just because they love it and because they enjoy it, odds are they're going to have a story, and they have some skills, and they build up to that day where they said, you know what, I'm pretty good at this. I think I'm going to give it a shot and try to work with some women. So at least you can see that they had some interest in photography beforehand, rather than waking up one day, calling themselves a pro they really don't like the photography part. And I don't want to get into this now, but they don't care about the photography. They just like the idea of calling themselves a photographer, So you have to be really careful of these low and no quality photographers. And just ask a lot of questions. I'm not going to get too further again into that. You can check out some of these previous episodes. And one other thing when it comes to picking that photographer is avoid the fixer boudoir photographers. And you're like, Mike, what the heck are you talking about? Well, you would think that you're going for a wedding gift. You just want a cute gift. Smiling, cute, you want to go in, want to get your photos done, and have a nice gift for your wedding. And that would be easier said than done in a lot of instances. And once again, you can spot a fixer boudoir photographer pretty easily. And let me tell you, it's not going to be a good time for you. There are a whole group of photographers, these narrative photographers, over the past 10 years, as we talked about. They really don't care about photography so much. They sort of position themselves as unlicensed therapists, and they are here to fix you. They want to fix you. They think all women are broken, all women are damaged, and it's their job to fix you. So they're not about cute. They're not about fun. They're about healing you. So probably for your wedding gift, you do not want to accidentally wind up in the building of a fixer photographer, because it's probably not going to be that fun. And they're probably not going to be really great pictures either. Maybe exceptions out there. I don't know. But like I said, these people are not focused on fun and technical excellence. They're focused on healing the ills of women. And if you have ills, that may be fine. But most women want a cute gift. So you're walking through the wrong door. And this is what we talk about, minefields. This is one of those minefields. So how can you tell if the photographer is a fixer? Well, you have to read their website, and you'll see all kinds of talk about healing, reclaiming power, trauma, recovery. It's not fair. Life's not fair. We'll rebuild you. All that kind of stuff. You'll see it all over their website. Seeing that should just, again, be a red flag for you, and program yourself that if you see all that equals not fun, probably not where you want to go for your wedding photos. And I've dealt with this over the years with a lot of my clients coming in. Oh, gee, Mike, I almost went with this other photographer, and I was on the phone with her. And then, all she kept talking about is how she was going to rebuild me. That's a bad sign. If you're looking for a wedding gift and you're doing a consultation with someone and all she's talking about is, well, when you step into our studio, we know you're wounded. We know life isn't fair. And here at Ann James Boudoir Photography, We are going to rebuild you, make you whole, and build you back into the strong woman you deserve to be. It's not fair. We are going to cry together. We are going to heal together. And I've heard this from so many of my clients, and they're like, what the hell was that? And so I had to explain to them, you called a healing photographer. Good thing you didn't go that route. And they're like, darn right, I'm glad I didn't go down that route. Because it's not going to be fun. So, boudoir should be uplifting, yes, but not a therapy session. Boudoir is not mental health therapy. It's for making women beautiful, cute, having a good time, getting a fun gift. 99.9% of the women coming in are looking for a cute gift for their boyfriend, for their husband, or for themselves. They're not looking for an unlicensed mental health therapist. But however, they're out there everywhere. So, very important again to call and speak, read all the copy on that photographer's website. Make sure you feel comfortable with them. Make sure you feel comfortable with their approach. Make sure they're talking about cute, fun gifts. Make sure they talk about you having a good time. Make sure it sounds like it's going to be someone you want to talk to or interact with, and you feel secure with this photographer. You're kind of on the same wavelength. If you do not want unasked for therapy, I would say be aware, avoid the fixer photographers. You'll be better off for your wedding gift. It's got to be very careful with that. They are everywhere. And now, let's just say you've done all that. You've weeded through a bunch of websites, maybe even picked up the phone and, God forbid, spoken to a few people, a few photographers on the phone. You got a few contenders lined up. They weren't trying to fix you. They're kind of right in the budget. They explained everything to you. Get a cute album, the process. They can get you in on time. They can get you your wedding gift on time. Call them back. Ask about their processes. Again, the pricing. Find out what's included. Find out where their session is. Do they have makeup artists coming in? How many outfits do you have to bring along? There's like 80,000 questions you should be asking that they're not necessarily going to be telling you of. One of which is what? Are you outsourcing your editing? Because they will never tell you that. And there's a growing group of women's photographers that after the session is done, they're like, well, I'm the president of my business. I don't do things like that. That translates to I'm lazy or I don't know how to edit photos. So what a lot of photographers are doing now is taking your private photos, your private naked photos, sending them to somebody in China. They're going onto Fiverr or a gig work site like that, hiring somebody for $20 and saying, edit all of her boudoir photos and then send them back to me because I don't want to do it. So basically, without you knowing, they're taking your private images and sharing them with somebody, God knows who they are and what they're going to do with them afterwards. So always ask, are you outsourcing my photos? Are you outsourcing your editing? There's like a million things you have to ask these photographers. Are you writing all this down? Yeah, that's right. You're happy you tuned into the show now, right? That's I am a doofus, but I am a smart doofus. So that's why this is all so super, super important. Make sure you're a good fit with this photographer. Make sure you can chat and talk and feel comfortable, because if you feel uneasy, all your photos are going to look like this. And that's not a cute look in a bridal boudoir album if you're like, like what's going on there? Because you got to be a people person to be a boudoir photographer. You have to make people comfortable. You have to make them smile, because your photos are not going to look cute if you are awkward because the photographer is awkward because they don't know what they're doing, or they've only been through this a few times and it's just not going to be a good experience for you. So you can see all these things you have to ask, and then start budgeting. This is going to be the least expensive thing. Save some money. Do it right. Do it the right way. You're like, gee, Mike, this is a lot of work. You're right. It's a lot of work. It's not simple. Not simple. That's the point. That's the whole point of this show. I've heard too many horror stories over the years. I should make a whole episode about the stories I've heard at bridal shows. I'm going to do that. All the women have come up to me at bridal shows and told me their horror stories. And not only that, the customers, the women who come in with my customers, and all these things you hear, all these horror stories. It is not easy. You have to put in a lot of work. Hence why I'm doing this show. I don't care about photographers. They're all crazy. What I care about is you, because I know what they will do to you. It is not a great experience. So you need to know these things, so you know what to ask these crazy photographers, so you have a fighting chance. Now, there are a lot of good photographers out there. I know them. I know a lot of photographers. There are certainly good ones, but they blend in. All the crazy ones kind of blend in with the good ones, and it's hard to tell them apart. You have to ask these questions, because the good photographers, when they say, "What are you doing with my photos after the session?" They'll say, "I'm encrypting them. They're all encrypted. Everything is safe. Everything's good." When you ask the crazy ones, "What are your process for protecting my photos after the session?" They'll look at you and go, "What? But I'm healing you." Go to the next photographer. There's a lot to this. Like I said, it's not so simple. So that's a lot of information that we shared in this show, but it's important. It's important for you to know as a bride, because you want your wedding gift to be great. You want it to be cute. Whether you do your white bridal lingerie or not, you can be cute. You can come in your white stockings. That's always cute. Your white shoes, cute. You don't have to wear a veil. You could wear a veil. Most people don't wear veils. Most women now don't even use white lingerie. They're like, "Do I have to use white?" No. You can wear whatever you like, but keep your brides cute. Keep them pretty. You'll have a good time. Your husband will love your gift. You will love your gift. You'll show it to your friends. They will love it. Everyone will go, "Oh, she looks so cute." And you'll be happy that you did it. But it takes a lot of work to get to that point. You do not want to go through the whole process, have it be like a torture session, awkward, poor process, bad results. You look like in your photos, and you look, no, it's not. It's like such a possibility. It's like going into a bad restaurant. You're going to get food poisoning, and you're going to be vomiting in your Hyundai Elantra before you even get home. You could be like, ugh. That's what's going to happen when you pick a bad boudoir photographer. And just like food poisoning, you don't know until it's too late. You're going to be walking out of the photographer's building, and you're going to realize you made a horrible mistake. You're going to feel queasy, and then you're going to get diarrhea on the way home. In your brand new Hyundai Elantra, you still have like 34 lease payments on it, and then that's what's going to happen. Kitchen nightmares. Got to be very, very careful. So that's my recap. I told you I was a doofus, but it's true. So remember, prioritize quality over price. Don't go with the lowest photographer. And I'm always happy to answer questions for brides or anybody else about boudoir photography. So as always, you can send me a note, send me an email. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. That's what I'm here for. And I want to thank everybody for stopping and tuning in this week. Hopefully the show did not make you nauseous. Hopefully you're not vomiting or having diarrhea right now. But this is important to get through. So thanks everybody for stopping in this week. A lot of information in this show. So you can rewind it, listen to it again. You have no excuse. You have no excuse if you wind up with a bad photographer. Everything you need to know is in this show. Everything else you need to know are on these previous episodes. So give that a listen. Want you to have fun. Want you to have a good time. Want you to walk away with beautiful experience, beautiful pictures, and then ultimately saying, I'm glad I did that. And you can look back on those photos for years and years, and it'll be a positive thing for you. And that's the whole point of women's photography. Not going, ugh! So until next week, bye-bye. Ugh!